government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, from Charlotte, another line going from in Florida down to Tampa of Putin's kleptocracy. Yeah. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him. The idea that Los Angeles. Let's be clear. I hear it all the time. Cumulative deficit. I can play for the programs many times over.
Well, I'm sick and tired of smart guys.
Let me start off with two words. Made in America. Made in America.
Welcome back to another night of Shtick with Koolfrogg. You know, I was sitting around today and running the show early this morning with waking up with myself and talking trash and truth. And I was going through some stuff and I'm just like, I just feel there she is. There's talking trash and truth. I was thinking, and I'm like, I have to actually run a show. I'm like, I just like there's enough here. There's enough information, enough stuff out there. There's been enough stuff out there for a few days. I'd been unable, and I was feeling good. And I'm like, all right, I can do this. I can run a show. So here I am. I'm gonna run a show. We're gonna actually cover some news. We're gonna go through some stuff that I feel is necessary to go through. I would say hi to everybody real quick. Yeah, we are running on Rumble as well. If I feel the need, I may just shut off here and go over there for a little bit. Depends on how I'm feeling. Depends on how things go. It is the end of the month. Tomorrow is May Day. Yippee! I guess some socialist crap being pushed on us. However you want to look at it, we can be excited, I guess, that it's May. So, end of the month, figured I'd, throw together something. I see you, T3. I see you. I'm going to say hi to everybody over here on the YouTube side. Hello, Tweety and Suzanne, Danielle, and Boomer. And who else we got with us? Who else? Nobody else wants to shout up before we get going here. I'll try to stay up on top of the. I lose when you go to Rumble. What do you mean you lose? I'm not going to go away right away. I'm going to actually stick around for a little bit. Like I said, it is the end of the month. So supposedly when you get to the end of the month, you're supposed to grift. You're supposed to grift yourself and do things that would excite your audience to get them to tip you for the end of the month. I don't know. So, I don't get it. I don't understand all of it. I think some of it can get kind of misconstrued, especially when you do certain particular things for the audience. It can get grotesque to a level. It can be kind of can almost get to the point of seeming tragic to see what happens to some of the best of us, because I've seen my video of myself. I've seen video of others not be able to hold their liquor and go to that point of actually going overindulging, where the body just finally says no. Just saying. Hope everybody's being safe and being okay. I'm going to hit on some news. All right. Well, let's do this. Let's do this. Here you go. Look at it. North Korea launches a space program. So, North Korea is finally getting to the point of being able to actually do something with a space program. They're talking about potentially launching something into the outer atmosphere or whatever, so that they could actually have satellites being propelled around the Earth, so that they can actually see wherever, whatever, whenever. What's going? Not sure where you want to actually be at. There's so many places to be. T3's here, there, and everywhere. It's good to see everybody. Glad everybody's with us. If you haven't, please hit that like button for me. So this is North Korea's state media on Thursday declared that building the space industry is an indispensable project for national development and improvement of people's lives. Dictator Kim Jong-un boasted last week that his military now has the capability to put a spy satellite in orbit, but no such launch has taken place. Sure it hasn't. So they have the capability of actually launching spy satellites. So if they have the ability to do so, and we have the knowledge that they have the ability to do so, most likely, in my opinion, is it probably already happened, which is interesting in itself. Had leaders, and you notice who's wearing masks and who's not, right? Kim's tightly controlled media quoted various ministers and Kim himself touting a satellite network as useful for land management, disaster relief efforts, weather forecasting, and communications. Beyond North Korea's borders, most observers expect the imminent launch of military surveillance satellite that will do none of those things. They're expected to do one thing, and they're going to go and totally do the total opposite. And they're going to launch military surveillance satellites. They've been launching plenty of military, rockets, missiles, from their lands, out into the Sea of Japan, as well as other areas where they've actually had certain things shot down. It's really ridiculous how it seems as once communism boasts its head out, and you feel that there's more that actually goes ahead and does more. T3 says $10 says it never leaves the ground. I mean, are you sure it hasn't already happened? Kim gave this order while visiting North Korea's National Aerospace Development Administration, which promised in December that it would be capable of launching reconnaissance satellites by April 2023. Kim claimed military reconnaissance satellite number 1 has been constructed and is ready for orbit. So, I mean, it's constructed, it's ready for orbit. They're ready to launch something soon. Kim is traveling in the company of long-hidden daughter and possible heir Kim Jong-un, who made her public debut in November with the test launch of the new intercontinental ballistic missile. Kim has brought his 10-year-old daughter to numerous major military events many times since then, apparently as part of her political indoctrination. Thursday's hype from North Korea's state media suggests that satellite launch could happen very soon. Many observers thought Pyongyang would pull the trigger while South Korea President Yoon Suk Yeol was in Washington last week or this week. Japan took the possibility of seriously enough last Saturday to put its missile forces on alert, ordering them to shoot down any satellite debris that might rain down in Japanese territory. It was the first time since December 2012 that Japan issued an order for the deployment of Patriot PAC-3 and Aegis-equipped destroyers specifically to prepare to destroy any missiles fired at North Korea. More generally, by standing order to destroy that enables the SDF to intercept projectiles, was first issued in 2009 and has continuously in effect since August of 2016, which could cause some hurdles of its own. Which is where T3 comes in with the $10. It never leaves the ground. If it does leave the ground, will there be other things that will actually intercept it and prevent it from actually continuing into outer space? As a spy satellite, will we allow it, or will anybody else allow North Korea to do such a thing? It's kind of an interesting ordeal in itself. Kim Jong Un is immune to certain things. He says, "Yeah, well, in other words, he's immune to his own propaganda, right?" Is that how that works? Because that's why I take it. That's why I take it. Is that's what's going on. So, just to kind of move around a little bit, we got drone attack suspected as Russian oil reservoir in Crimea set on fire. Rising gas prices. See it? Do you see it going up in flames? You see the prices going up? So nice of them to do such a thing. A massive fire erupted in an oil reservoir in Crimea after it was hit by a drone. A Russia-appointed official there reported Saturday. This guy, the Moscow-installed governor of the Black Sea Peninsula's port city of Sevastopol, posted videos and photos of the blaze in his Telegram channel. This guy said the fire was assigned the highest ranking terms and how complicated it will be to extinguish. Yeah, I bet it's going to be one of the hardest things to extinguish. It's once you start something like that on fire, you pretty much have to let it burn off, or add chemical additive to it to actually get it to actually smolder itself, which then again has to be purified again, re-purified or whatever before it can be used. If not, just dumped just somewhere in itself. It could be dangerous and disgusting, or what they decide to actually do with it. He did not say whether the drone he cited as causing the fire was Ukrainian. Yeah, Ukrainian. That's what it was. He's Ukrainian. Because we gave it to him to use, so that, it's now theirs. But we don't know. We don't know if it's theirs or if it was somebody else's. Russia annexed Crimea from Ukraine in 2014, a move that most of the world considered illegal. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said his country is seeking to reclaim the peninsula during Russia's current full-scale invasion. Ukraine made failed attempt to blow up Vladimir Putin's with suicide drone. Awesome. The incident came days after Russia fired more than 20 cruise missiles and 2 drones at Ukraine, killing at least 23 people. Almost all of the victims died when 2 missiles slammed into an apartment building. 3 children were among the dead. This guy said that the oil reservoir fire did not cause any casualties and would not hinder fuel supplies in Sevastopol. Yeah, no, not in Sevastopol. It won't hinder fuel supplies. Where is it going to hinder fuel supplies? Everywhere else? Go figure. The city has been subject to regular attack attempts with drones, especially in recent weeks. Earlier this week, this guy reported that the Russian military destroyed a Ukrainian sea drone that attempted to attack the harbor, and another one blew up, shattering windows at several apartment buildings, but not inflicting any other damage. Ukrainian officials did not immediately commit to an oil reservoir fire after previous attacks in Crimea. Kyiv usually stopped short of openly claiming responsibility, but emphasized that the country had the right to strike any target in response to Russian aggression. UKR been done? You think so? You think it's all done? It's all been said and done? There's nothing more happening? Good to see you. Go Hagen. Super chats until I figure out the password. Such a boomer. Oh, no, I got you. It's okay. It's for the rest of you. You can at least hit the like button, like Suzanne did. No? Nobody wants to do that? I got a lot of fun things coming up here tonight. Some interesting, something to laugh at. Came back with a miss. What? You didn't miss anything. Just me talking about Ukraine and being told that it's done. It's over with. There's nothing left to see there. And if it's done and it's over with, and the final nails have been implemented, why are we still hearing about it? Just a question. Just a question. Because even other media is still reporting that it's still going on. Sometimes. So I'm kind of confused. So here's your 21,000 Venezuelan migrants in 12 days crossed the border into one Texas sector. 21,000? Holy man, that's a lot. That's a small city. A small city of people just come walking in, being like, "We're gonna set up town right here. I'm fine with that, as long as they're upstanding citizens." When I speak of upstanding citizens, there's a couple things that are happening currently that are kind of disturbing in themselves, like the young man that's being sought after that they can't find, that had unalived several people. Anyway, so this one is just a Texas Department of Public Safety official told Breitbart, Texas, that Rio Grande Valley Sector Border Patrol agents took nearly 21,000 Venezuelan migrants into custody during a 12-day period. The spokesman compared the current Venezuelan migrant surge to that of the 2021 Haitian migrant crisis in Del Rio, Texas. During the 2021 crisis, nearly 20,000 Haitian migrants crossed into Del Rio from Mexico during a 17-day period. DPO spokesman Lieutenant Chris Olivares told Breitbart Texas that Rio Grande Valley agents working at DPS troopers and Texas military department soldiers took 20,865 migrants into custody during the 12-day period. Most of these Venezuelan migrants crossed the Rio Grande from Mexico in the immediate vicinity of Brownsville, Texas. The current surge of Venezuelan migrants appears to have no end in sight. In what has become a daily occurrence of South Texas border city, large groups of migrants continue to cross the border into Brownsville on Saturday. Breitbart observed the activity near the now defunct Fort Brown Memorial Golf Course and witnessed multiple law enforcement agencies receiving the surrounding migrants continuously throughout the day. Of course they're good. They're hungry. They've been walking all day. They need something to do, something better to do. Talking Trash and Truth gifted 5 Koolfrogg memberships. Thank you so much. Looks like Nova, Texas Jen, Jujubee, Judge Maddie, and Pudding Way each receive a membership. I don't know if apparently some of the rules have changed. How it actually divvies those out. It doesn't necessarily divvy out to people that are just here. So if you're here, congratulations. If you're not, congratulations. Hey Rose, how you doing, dear? Good to see you. The camp went under significant improvements during the past week. Over the last several days, local authorities brought in heavy equipment to clear overgrown brush. City of Brownsville emergency management vehicles moved about the area as workers added asphalt paving material and unimproved roads around the camp as well. The Brownsville Fire Department staged ambulances at the site of preparation for what could be a significant humanitarian crisis if a volume of large groups of migrants continued crossing into the area. The scene is reminiscent of the Haitian migrant crisis in 2021, with 19,752 migrants crossing the border from Mexico into the border town of Del Rio, Texas. The surge of Haitian migrants forced Del Rio sector agents to contain the migrants in a makeshift camp under the Del Rio International Bridge. Breitbart Texas reported despite promises made to deport migrants from Haiti by DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, Haitian migrants were released into the U.S. interior in large numbers. So they're allowing some, disallowing others, doing just the opposite of what they should be doing. This current administration is really, really blowing a lot of things. They're horrible. Suzanne Eckstein with 22 Canadian Castanian dollary dues. Thank you. You're so thank you. That's awesome. The hell? Microphone. Hello. Sounded like I lost myself there for a minute. The current volume of Venezuelan migrant groups crossing the Brownsville quickly exceeded the capacity of Border Patrol processing facilities in the area. The impact of the migrant surge can also be seen in the downtown streets of Brownsville near the city center. Migrants can be seen in the city sidewalks near the La Plaza bus terminal waiting to depart the border city for other parts of the country. A local charity shelter run by volunteers receives nearly 700 migrants released by the Border Patrol daily and assists migrants with meeting transportation needs. Not all the migrants have sufficient funds to quickly depart the city. For those migrants, park gazebos and benches provide a resting place as they wait to receive funds from sponsors or family members in the United States. The sponsors or family members. Well, usually you don't find too many family members. Usually they're actually, being, they're transporting themselves across the, halfway across the world for themselves to actually find somewhere. So they're going to be sitting in gazebos and park benches. They're going to be sitting in those places that everybody enjoys sitting at for public gatherings and having fun. And instead of that, you get to see everybody all lounging out, dingy and dirty, and that's very disturbing that we're allowing this large movement of people to be coming across this border with no thought behind any of it. Oh wait, there is some thought behind it. There is some thought behind it, because when it comes down to it, I'm gonna actually stop this one for now. When it comes down to it, you actually think about it. All of a sudden, you start paying attention to what this administration is currently trying to do. And here you got Bill Maher coming out and saying Biden has handled the border by keeping Trump's Title 42. Yeah, do you see what's happening here? Something that should have never actually been let go is Trump's Title 42. Now, on Friday's broadcast of HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher responded to criticism of President Joe Biden's handling of the border by stating that Biden kept the Title 42 policy of the Trump administration. Maher said that Vice President Kamala Harris has poor ratings among Democrats because they said the border, no one can fix it. You can't take it. So she got associated with a problem that would take more than just the vice president to solve. I really don't believe that. I really don't. If he would actually just build the damn wall the way it was intended to be built, kept things in place the way they were supposed to be in place by the way that Trump put them in place, you wouldn't have this big surge. This big surge is because that was removed, allowing this to happen. Fifth Column podcast co-host Michael Moynihan responded, she didn't go down to the border either. That was not good. And also, she could have talked about it differently, Maher told others. So, I mean, when it comes down to it, Maher, it's interesting how Bill Maher's actually coming to the point of actually explaining that this is what's happening. This is what's exactly happened. Maher then said that was not good, and also she could have talked about it differently. Trigonometry podcast co-host Konstantin Kiesin responded, but she can't, because the Democratic Party, like many left-wing parties all over the West, they have been entrapped by the woke mind viruses you've been talking about. So you can't talk about immigration if you're on the left, because you're afraid of the people to your left. Maher responded, you're afraid of them, saying you are racist. So I mean, and that's pretty much what it comes down to every single time. That's what it comes down to every single time. Later, Maher stated that Biden got things done that other presidents in his position wouldn't, and asked his panel, and what was he fucked up horribly? Kissinger answered, he hasn't dealt with the border issues. For a start, right? He hasn't dealt with that, and he's going to continue not to deal with it. He's going to allow it to do what it's doing. Maher cut it in to say, well, he kept Trump's Title 42, which is the law that said if you can't come across the border, you're using Koof as an excuse to stop the flow. He's not. You don't really want him to build the wall, do you? He later added to the problems under the Biden administration cross party lines. So it's like when it comes down to it, yeah, that's pretty much what it's going to come down to, regardless to how the left actually feels about uh, Trump's Title 42 and disallowing people to actually come across that border. At any way, at any rate, it should be stopped, and by all means. But are we going to allow it to? Are we going to stop it? No, we're going to allow it to actually continue to do what it's doing. Um, just have a bunch. I have so many different things in like no like specific order to do them in. Let's move this one down further, I guess. Let's go with. So now this happened a few days ago when we have the tendency in here to actually cover a particular topic subject when it comes to like train derailment and other stuff like that. So there was another train that had derailed within the last few days. Here you go. Train derails into the Mississippi River near Wisconsin-Iowa border. You can see several cars ended up in the water. So there's been another train derailment. This time it's Wisconsin-Iowa border along the Mississippi River. The BNSF railway train derailed around 12:15 local time. Video posted on Twitter shows several train cars toppled into the river. So then, there's a couple different videos that are out there of people driving past this particular train accident. So then you can see the train's actually holding semi-container. So it's like they'd get to a destination and these containers would be lifted up off of the train cars and onto semis. And the semis would be brought to their locations containing, various products and different, things. Right? So this is the BNSF railway train derailment occurred near DeSoto around 12:15 local time. The railroad company told Fox News Digital 2 of the 3 locomotives and an unknown number of cars carrying freight of all kinds were reported to be derailed on the bluff side of the Mississippi River. A BNSF statement said the main track is blocked in both directions and an estimated time for reopening the track is not available. Fortunately, no serious injuries are reported. All crew members were accounted for. All crew members were accounted for, with one receiving a medical evaluation. The company said local first responders were also once on site. BNSF said company personnel were en route to the scene, and the cause of the incident is under investigation. While it isn't yet clear what the train is carrying, officials have indicated there's no need to evacuate at this time. It was not immediately clear that the train cars were carrying, but spokesperson from the railroad company, BNSF Railway, said it was carrying freight of all kinds. 2 or 3 locomotives or engines were derailed along with several train cars. So the locomotives, the engines themselves were derailed. Usually when trains derail, it's not usually the engine that actually is the one that actually is the one that's derailed. It's usually one of the cars further back that ends up derailing or whatever, and pulling. That's why you see trains topple from like the center through or whatever is because like one particular train car in the center, something happened to it. This sounds like it's an engine that actually derailed. Causing the rest of the train to derail. TR says, didn't realize you went live, Koolfrogg. Sorry, no, not a big deal, brother. Yes, we are live. We're actually, I'm going through some news, doing the Shtick with Koolfrogg type of show here. So, uh, lots of news, lots of interesting, goings on. So, this is official said that derailment occurred about 12:15 near the villages of Ferryville in DeSoto in Crawford County, about 30 miles south of the Cross. State Highway 35, which runs along Mississippi River, is closed at the Black Hawk Bridge over the river from Iowa. So, it's actually cutting off, service of a particular road, which could be dangerous in itself if somebody across the bridge is needing particular services. Um, Vicky T, how you doing, dude? This is a Crawford County Sheriff's Office did not provide additional information, but said the brief statement on Facebook that there's no need for people to evacuate. So you see this 30 miles south of the cross, 30 miles north of the cross is if you remember is where that Madeline went missing, and was where I'm originally from. So it's like this area is to me is kind of well traveled. I've been through this area. I kind of know this Black Hawk Bridge and that vicinity. And that's why it kind of when I say there's some it's interesting to actually know that there's that bridge is out of service, because that could actually cause harm to certain people if they didn't have access within a timely manner. That undoubtedly comes with the relief that those who have seen the ongoing fallout of the February derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. While the cause of the latest derailment is under investigation, it's difficult not to notice the seemingly spat of similar incidents of late. And then you can see it actually points out the Norfolk Southern train derailment, another massive train derailment with hazardous materials, and then there's the derailment in Michigan. There's two more, one in Texas, one in South Carolina, and then there was also on top of this, there's one that was up in Maine. There was a couple others that had occurred. Well, okay, so being that that's happening, so I'm gonna actually go and go to chat here real quick to see if anybody has anything to go along with what I was actually going and talking about. Hey, Charlemagne, how you doing, dude? I see that Talking Trash and Truth said new month. Who this? So the cool thing is on Rumble. Rumble has a new way of actually being able to spend and support your favorite content creator with a monthly dollar amount. And Talking Trash and Truth is actually the first one to actually do such a thing. And she's actually supporting me for $5 a month. And it's awesome. It's great to actually see such a thing will actually occur on a monthly basis, to see that happen. And for whatever reason, there's this thing in green over here that I'm supposed to ignore. I'm not gonna say it. I said too much. I don't know why. The flooding in the Mississippi River Valley is in the snow melt or really bad spring storms we've been having in the Midwest. No, exactly. Like I said, I'm from that area, so I understand. I've grew up on the Mississippi River. I've watched it, waters rise, watched waters drop, and yeah, the river's totally going to be a little bit higher than what it was. It had enough winter snowfall, melt runoff that will actually be very interesting in itself. Are you? You are? Oh, okay. Have fun with that. Like I said, I got plenty of stuff here, so I'm gonna quick flip through here. I do have. There's a couple different things that happen for bills. In a couple different places that should be interesting. Oh, that young boy. This one here. This is very interesting. We can hop around, do some fun stuff here. This young boy.
The video is dramatic, and it's scary to think about what might have been. The female bus driver begins to slow down, but never completes the task because she loses.
You can see, like, she loses consciousness, so she's actually to the point where at this second, she's actually kind of slumped over. She's kind of slumped over just a little bit, and unable to do much. Nonetheless, control this massive bus.
Consciousness, and the bus begins to veer into oncoming traffic. That's when 7th grader Dylan Reeves jumps from his seat, takes the wheel, and slowly brings the bus to a stop. Even with the panic inside the bus, Dylan remained calm.
Someone call 911 now.
In my
The smart kid. He was taught right. Somebody called 911. So, most likely this kid's probably gonna do something. Being the hero that he is, and being able to actually stop this bus from veering out of control and into traffic, being able to be calm enough to just stop the bus.
35 plus years of education, this was an extraordinary act of courage and maturity on his part.
Thursday, Consolidated Schools Superintendent Robert Livernoy praised Dylan for his quick thinking.
You would think in the middle of this panic, you just jump on the brake. He had the wherewithal to push it slowly, likely in anticipation that the bus was full of passengers.
Dylan's parents couldn't believe it when they heard.
To do something like this just fills my heart. It makes my heart skip a beat. I'm extremely proud of him.
We got a little hero.
So how did the 13-year-old know what to do?
He's been on my lap, driving country roads, pulling in driveways since about 4 years old.
Mom says,
Oh, Dad got in trouble. He's been doing what since he was 4 years old? Uh-oh. Are you sure? But no, it's totally an extraordinary act. It's awesome that this young man was able to actually get up there and actually slow the bus down, as opposed to just chomping right on that brake and making everybody fly around the bus to actually save everybody. I thought it was pretty cool. I don't. That's the goofy. I'm so confused. Oh, I read that wrong. So I mean, if you. It's legal on private property. I mean, some states, and depending on what you're actually doing. So, I don't know here. Let's see. Let's hit up one of these bills. So there's a couple different bills that are actually passing through current government. You got Rep. Massey warns the Biden administration wants 10 million to 40 million people to go into a pistol-based registry. Red tape everywhere. Which is red tape the shit out of almost anything and everything that that's out there, and go against our Second Amendment rights. It's just ridiculous and disgusting what each state has been actually doing currently. This is Thursday, and FNC's the Ingram angle. Rep. Thomas Massey discussed the push by the Biden administration to create a federal registry for gun owners with a pistol brace. According to the Kentucky Republican lawmaker, the federal government is threatening jail time for those who do not comply. Partial transcript is as follows. Ingram asks, joining me now, the man just saw Congressman Thomas Massey of the House Judiciary Committee. Congressman, after embarrassing the ATF director, you said that they don't have the authority to put the rule in place, so why not? And how are you going to change that? Massey comes back. This is what we were talking about, and that's a little piece of plastic, and I'm holding it here, but I won't be holding it on June 1st because I would be a felon. Can I hold it now? Because I don't want to be a felon. That sounded very. And she laughs because she asked such a dirty question. Such a dirty question. Dang you, Ingram. So this is the big threat. Massey comes back with, this is the big threat to America as a piece of plastic. Sig Sauer is a good 9mm. I like that. That was the original one that was designed. The ATF sent letter to the inventor and said this is illegal and you can sell these. They sold millions of these. They're between 10 million and 40 million of these on hand, and American citizens they've been given 120 days to comply and go to prison. Now there's only about 30 days left on the clock, and the compliance isn't even possible in 13 states because if you reclassify it as a short-barreled rifle, it's illegal in that state. But in other states where you could do it, you're going to go into a registry, and this is what Joe Biden wants. He wants 10 million to 40 million people to go into a registry by owning a piece of plastic. You can come in here. See, I don't like how I did that.
Try that.
See, now I have to edit that layout. That's weird. How does it? Oh, okay. If I narrow it a little bit more, we'll go like that. Okay, maybe that'll work a little bit better. Yay! How are you?
Hey, you. I didn't want to interrupt.
Let's save that. Update. No, you're okay. You can. There.
They're right.
That looks a little bit better. That doesn't look so
like
bad.
that.
There you go. So then, let's see, where was I here? As soon as Ingram comes back, then law-abiding people that they own and how many guns they own. My question is this. Again, explain why this makes it a short-barreled rifle, because you can hold it without breaking your wrist or what? They're claiming that people will take this and shoulder it and put it on the shoulder and
What, walk around with it?
Yeah, you're gonna
It's a new
take this.
purse.
You're gonna take this little handgun and you're gonna actually put this strap to it, and because it's now strapped to your wrist, you're gonna able to actually brace it to your shoulder. Could you imagine?
No. No.
Hey, Raleigh, how's it going, brother?
What's up, honey? That's weird.
Yeah, right. So it continues. It says that doesn't even look right. It made me. It's made to go around. It's got a strap. Can you see this?
No.
It's made to go around the wrist like this. If you see much as do this, they say now you've got a rifle.
Oh.
Here's the problem, Laura. After 10 years, they said it wasn't a rifle. It's a law-abiding Americans bought them under the direction of the ATF. Congress hasn't changed the law, but the ATF under Biden has arbitrarily said we are going to make all these. We know we know why they are doing this.
You're missing letters. You're missing words. They're going to make all
Is there
these what?
any-
Illegal?
What do you mean? I'm not missing words and letters.
I think there's writing underneath our squares.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Hmm.
You're like, wait a minute, I can't see.
They're making all these. I think it's
I
gonna say
can't see
illegal.
the whole word. I want to see how they actually spell
There you go.
flummoxed.
Make all these whatever. Okay.
We know why they're doing this. Is there any? He was so flummoxed in the Q&A with you. I don't know who did this moot court before he went to that panel, but he needs to fire whoever helped prep him. Maybe it was Kamala's prep person, but he didn't seem to even have the slightest inkling of what is actually will result in for Americans or not care.
Oh.
He also said something in there that was news to us. He said, if you so as separate this from the firearm, then they're illegal. If you separate this from the firearm, then they're illegal. What?
Well,
firearm must have it so it can be considered a rifle, and if it doesn't have it, it's considered illegal. So you can't you separate them from each other. If you separate them from each other, that's illegal.
I can't. The double speak.
That's the contravention of what actual rules say. But he may have just given inadvertently a safe harbor to millions of people. Consult your lawyers, though, before you take this advice. Kids don't do this at home. Don't do this at home. But he said all you've got to do is separate it from the firearm. That's not what the rule says. But that's what the ATF director said in our hearings. So I found that very... There will be litigation, obviously, against this if the rule goes forward, but there will be litigation, and it'll take years. I don't think this will hold up in court, the rule. But in the meantime, he's telling people to destroy these, throw them away, ban them, or register your firearm with Joe Biden.
Fuck that. So all of it. I don't even have one, and I'm irritated.
How ridiculous is that? Excuse me?
I'm telling you, it's noodle soup. Nothing makes sense.
Register your firearm with Joe Biden.
I'm still trying to figure out the wrist with the wrap it goes around, and how the hell does that work and make it like a
right?
I don't get it.
Pretty much what what the strap is going to do is it's going to actually hold the gun in your hand, which would actually give you a little bit of a brace for somebody with a weak wrist. Somebody that needs a little bit of help, right? So you put the strap around there, and some of those that actually do like competitive, I would almost assume that they would also use some type of brace for certain particular usages or whatever. So the law that the way they're actually speaking of it or whatever is if you actually have one of these, it's now considered a rifle because it's now making it longer than so many inches long, which it consists of your arm, because your arm is now the brace, which is considered now the rifle, which can be put up to your shoulder or whatever, because your arm is attached to it. So It's fucking dumb.
I mean, by that logic, every time I punch somebody in the face, my wrist is a bullet. No? Because it's attached to my arm, which is a firearm now. So it's like, what the hell?
Sure. Why not? Why not?
They're ridiculous.
Why not just go
Definitions
there?
exist for a reason. They can't just arbitrarily change definitions whenever the fuck they feel like it. I mean, they're the government. Of course they can, but they shouldn't. It's absolutely ridiculous. They're not going to be happy till you can't even own a BB gun or a paintball gun. They're going to be like, oh, no, it's too dangerous. Give it back, little children. That's what this feels like. It feels like, we're being dumbed down. No. You're an adult. You can pay taxes. You could drive a huge car or tractor trailer or train or drive fly a plane, but not a gun. We don't trust you with that. It's very frustrating.
To stay with
How many guns has the ATF lost?
gun laws. This little 5-minute, 26-second. So Matt Gaetz is actually talking to this ATF guy.
How many guns has the ATF lost?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Is it a difficult question to understand?
Well, I don't know if you're referring to any particular incident or time.
How many
period.
instances should we be looking at where you've lost guns?
So if what you're referring to is what happened with the National Destruction Branch, no guns were lost. They were stolen by an individual who's now in prison,
Right.
who was not an ATF employee.
But there were recommendations made on what you should do so that you're victim of the theft, and the Inspector General saying you're not following them. I'm quoting directly from the Inspector General's report. Thousands of firearms parts, and ammunition had been stolen from the ATF. So you gave testimony that the brave ATF agents are the ones showing up at 2 a.m. after a burglary, but it seems as though in this case, you were the one burglarized. Why have you not followed the recommendations of the Office of Inspector General so that you aren't the mark?
Again,
Again, I don't know how to answer you. I'm ridiculous, director of ATF, and I have no clue what I'm actually supposed to how I'm supposed to answer you, because it's been so many numerous times that these thefts have occurred that I can't give you a direct, definitive answer.
Go ahead.
What's going on?
Who just showed up in chat? So you can do it.
Madcore Mofo. What is up?
Jesus,
Good
that
to
was loud. Oh, fuck my life.
It's weird, right? Because pistol braces don't make a pistol a rifle, but at the same time, rifles have the defined barrel length. So I can see both sides, but NFA wasn't illegal to begin with. Repeal
What if
NFA.
you've got really short arms?
I mean, right, because it's just a bunch of ridiculous mumbo jumbo jargon trying to get you to feel about, differently about things and just be like, oh, okay, I guess I don't need a handgun anyway.
They figure if they ask or they say it enough times, eventually you'll just give up and be like, oh, here, just take it. No, that's like trying to take our cars from us. That's not going to happen either.
Right.
People love their cars. They love their guns.
I want to say that it is brave women men and women of ATF who do this. That's not
I know what they're
that's a
doing. I know what they're
reality
doing.
every
They're
day.
getting robbed on one hand, so you can't keep a hold of the guns you're supposed to have. But then you do keep a hold of a bunch of stuff you're not supposed to have a hold of. The GAO report, Firearms data. ATF did not always comply with the Appropriations Act restriction and should better adhere to its policies. As a result of breaking the law, didn't you guys have to go and delete like 250,000 records that you illegally kept?
Shit.
Again, with respect to both the Inspector General reports that you're talking
Nope,
about.
one's Inspector General, one's GAO.
Well,
Very
the Inspector General report, ATF, that happened several years ago, more than that.
2022.
And ATF has,
date of
the
the
report
report.
came out, but the theft, and ATF has implemented numerous different safety measures with respect to the National Destructive Branch.
Well, I mean,
in order
I'm reading to you
safeguard-
from the report from last year, Mr. Director. We found that the NDB staff does not currently in 2022, adhere to established operating procedures in place to mitigate risk of firearms being lost and stolen. So I guess that shows an ATF that is not functioning correctly and is not responding to the problems you create. You keep records you're not supposed to. It was 250,000 of them you had to delete, right?
So he's going to answer this question after, or he's going to attempt to, but, I found it interesting. I like this guy's lapel pin of the nice little AR. That's fun. Smart man.
I see that.
I don't believe that is.
And you notice that this guy back here also has one, right?
Well, I noticed that her face sours with every single question. She
over
gets more and more.
200,000?
So what was happening was,
I just want to know the number.
What was happening was, I just want to know the number. That's all I need to know. I don't need any other information is what he's trying to get at. And he's not going to get it.
Of records you had to delete
they never
that
do.
were not being lawfully maintained.
there were records that had not actually been searched, but my understanding
Hundreds of
is
thousands
were
of them.
searchable.
And so that's what you guys do. You keep what you shouldn't keep. You lose what you're not supposed to lose. But how do you treat regular Americans? I got this letter from someone in my district, a firearms dealer. I have been a firearms dealer for 46 years. For 46 years, I've had a good relationship with law enforcement. Then came the ATF's zero tolerance policy. 2 years ago, while in the process of selling a firearm to a customer, I completed their background check using Florida's FDLE firearm purchasing program. The background check was uneventful, and FDLE rendered an approval number. Some months later, during an ATF audit, I was told the background check was now a non-approval. Even though FDLE made the error, it was on my paperwork, so ATF deemed it a willful error. After completing close to 50,000 background checks over 46 years, why would I willfully ignore this background check? The answer is simple. I did not, but the ATF has revoked my license, ended my career, and my livelihood. So I guess the question is, why should you be able to destroy the life of one of my constituents over a technicality where they weren't even at fault, when you all lose thousands of guns and illegally keep hundreds of thousands of records?
So when you actually think about what he actually just, put on front of him, where he's like, so, this is what you did. This is how far you actually went to actually restrict one person from being able to actually obtain what they want. And yet you, the government, has lost and had so much stolen over the last how long that you're going to come. No, I want answers. Give me an answer.
Hypocrisy.
Respectfully, Congress has.
Let me go and pinch my fingers really close and twist them so that
that is not winning him points.
No, exactly not. So that you can actually see how much I'm going to actually squish and twist your words that you actually just said to me and make of me nothing with my answer of nothing.
He's actually squirming.
Given us
Look how
the
twisty
authority
he is.
to inspect and make sure that firearms dealers, the vast majority by the which are compliant, they are our first line of defense in dealing with straw purchases.
This guy isn't your first.
Yeah, no. Everything about him screams lies.
No, right. His
upper body's over the paper. No, his upper body's over the paper like he's shielding it. He doesn't even know he's doing it. He's off to the side. If he was serious, he would be sitting up straight and talking directly with both hands on the table.
Line of defense anymore. He's fired.
A very small minority, those dealers, after due process, have been
A small
determined-
minority, ATF, enforcer of gun laws, lost thousands of firearm parts to thieves. New data shows ATF gun store restrictions at the highest rate in 16 years. Mr. Director, the definition of hypocrisy is when you can't live up to your own standard. So you have imposed a zero tolerance policy that is resulting in the highest rate of revocations in 16 years, and you wouldn't be able to meet your own zero tolerance policy because you lose stuff you're supposed to keep, and then you keep stuff that it's illegal to keep. And by the way, I am one of those MAGA Republicans that would defund your salary, your agency, and I think all these good things that you say exist could happen with those folks at the local and state level, and
Absolutely.
this is a terrible abuse of power.
Absolutely.
That was awesome.
I guessed what was in his head. I feel kind of dirty. I don't know how I feel when he said hypocrisy. Mm-hmm. It's the one word I picked. It was the one word I picked.
You knew what it was. You knew you seen the hypocrisy as it was coming out.
Oh, God.
It was like you just like, oh.
As much as I agree with him, you know I don't like
spew a
him. You're making me like Poindexter. I hate it.
Oh, you don't like
Gets on my fucking nerves. He's just he reminds me of Buster Poindexter. He does. You know, the taxi driver from Scrooge? That's what he reminds me of.
So, so then from...
Damn, he made good points, though.
Right, from... red tape laws, like trying to actually put, laws on braces that are required to be, had and can't be separate. There's just so many rules behind it.
It just amazes me that a strap would change the entire definition of a firearm.
Right, exactly. To the ATF actually going ahead and trying to actually impose other laws that they themselves can't hold is all a bunch of trash. The whole thing needs to be revamped. Like Gates said, ATF just needs to be dismantled, and
ATF should exist as a warehouse where you take defunct guns or like guns with no serial numbers where you could dispose of them immediately on site. That's it. Just illegal guns, not legal guns, illegal guns, like with the serial mark, the serial number, taken off, and things that they get in like drug busts. Do that. How about that? Because those guns, they go right back into circulation. They somehow just grow legs and walk right out of police stations. How does that happen? Like there's no place to just take them. That's the only function the ATF should ever have had. Was, oh, you're bringing me illegals? Let's mark them down, destroy them. Here's your receipt. Thank you. That's it. Done. They shouldn't be going anywhere. When did that agency get created? Do you know?
No.
Because I don't know the history of them. So was that another friggin' New Deal thing, like, around World War II when everything else seemed to get created?
Yeah, probably. It was probably created after that. There's so many things that have actually... And I could be totally wrong, so don't quote me on any of it. I have no clue.
But I would love to do a stream with you on that. Just the history of the ATF and like all the shit that they've done.
Yeah, and who would probably already know most of that would be somebody like America Shirts.
I know.
He would be able to actually give you that perspective, that input of that particular side of things. So.
Well, I got 9 million questions for Shirts. So
shirts.
Where is my shirts? They're trying to summon you. America Shirts, America Shirts, America Shirts. There, I said it 3 times. You should have seen it.
NFS was signed into law in 1934. Thank you, TR. NFA. Yeah, so I mean, either way, however you look at it, when it comes down to um, laws and rules, regulations, when it comes to any type of firearm, just shouldn't be there. I don't think that that this should actually be something that needs to be there and
Wow.
should be abolished immediately. But
ATF was formed July of 1972. I just don't see the purpose.
yeah, and that's what I said. Maybe later because I didn't think that it was 40s, but like gives you a little bit of perspective. When you think about it, how things have actually changed, and when you actually go back, you go back to the 60 years that Joe Biden's actually been part of the United States government,
Mhm.
and that's longer than that.
But was that always his stance to be like against the Second Amendment? Or did he vote for it before? Because a lot of these senators, they flip flop. So you don't really,
Yeah, see,
you don't
they
know
all
where they
flip flop
stand.
so much. They all just kind of stick with whatever narrative they're
The
actually
party
trying to
goes for.
spin. So
I don't know. It seems like such a waste of resources. It really does. Just to go and aggravate people who are just doing their job, running their business legally. I mean, they don't go after like the pawn shops that have all the guns hidden underneath that they sell. You know they're there. It's ridiculous. Allegedly, before he gets in trouble. Allegedly. Allegedly. That was part of the last sentence I said.
let's do this one, I suppose. Guys, like I said, I have so much that I brought up for the show or whatever because I didn't know who would be here, who wouldn't, what kind of stuff would actually cover, what we wouldn't. There you go. Breaking 27 Colorado Dems vote against making indecent exposure to minors a felony.
Ugh. See,
Against making indecent exposure to
Ooh.
minors a felony.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this. My blood's already
On
boiling.
Saturday, the Colorado House of Representatives voted on HB 23-1135, a bill introduced to increase the severity of indecent exposure in front of minors to a Class 6 felony, and 27 Democrats voted against the bill, with one saying she was concerned it would lead to a ban of drag shows.
What?
State Rep. Yep. She's concerned. She's concerned
I'd
that
be
it would
more
actually
concerned
lead
that
to a ban
indecent
of drag
exposure happens during these drag shows. If she thinks that they're correlated, if they're connected, that means you think that kids are going to see things that are indecent at these shows. Hence, they should be banned. they not follow
Maybe
logic?
drag shows should just be banned already. So, Colorado, potentially looking at it being okay. How do you feel about that, Tweety?
I think Tweety
State
went to bed.
Representative, as I heard, said these types of laws have been used to ban drag shows to target individuals who use the restroom of the sex that they identify with a public restroom to charge them with felony charges. I'm very concerned with the attacks against the transgender community that they're happening across the country.
I'm more worried about the kids that see a guy walking looking like a girl and he's got a dick. That's what I'm concerned with. That's very confusing for a young child. It's confusing for me. I have to look and go, wait, what?
These types of laws have been used to ban drag shows, to target individuals who use the restroom of the sex that they identify with, a public restroom, to charge them with felony charges.
I hope whoever the constituents are for this particular person
God, I hope they boot her out.
is seriously paying attention to what this person's doing. What they were actually doing, what kind of laws they're trying to push to affect our children.
Mm-hmm.
I am very concerned about the attacks against the transgender community that are happening across the country. When I initially read this bill, it did not even come to mind for me either, as an advocate. But as I've looked at the bills and as I've talked to my colleagues who are fighting these types of bills across the country, it's very clear to me that the language is very much mirrored in some of the laws that have been used to target members of our community because of who they are.
Members of our community?
Members of our community because of who they are.
That's very vague. Thank you. It's extremely vague. Does she mean women? Does she mean blacks? Does she mean lesbians? Does she mean bisexuals? Does she mean people who wear long nails on their?
She means anybody that can consider themselves a minority at any given point in time and say and get away with it, and say that that way they can actually be protected under any of these laws from actually doing
Well,
being
I mean,
imprisoned is or being incarcerated in any way, shape, or form, and unlike any other. That's what it's going to be for. They're going to push these. They're going to push this shit. They're going to continue to push this ridiculous bullshit.
I have a question though. Are women really a minority? What do we outnumber the men? 4-1, 3-1?
I don't know anymore.
I'm pretty sure that number is like
because
up
if you actually come down to it, I would almost think that myself, I would be considered part of a minority class.
Yes, because we're down to like a quarter of the amount of men that we had, or at least a quarter of the amount of men compared to us. So it's like, how are we the minority? Also, really, there's so many mixed races now that I don't know how they could
20 after.
classify it one way or another. Oh, it's 20 after. Thank you. I'm not being like bitchy about it or anything, but I mean, we're holding on to labels that were true 50 years ago. They might want to run those demographics again and find out who's the minorities. I'm just saying it.
Yeah, you see, Suzanne, the men becoming women. Now, yeah, I'd say we are the minority. I mean, when you actually think about it, you could actually, assume that minority would come up really quick.
I mean, it's pretty sad that rather than be with a woman, they'd rather become one or pretend to become one. That's just insulting on so many levels. What are you looking at?
You can see
that's
the House bill that they just passed through Colorado, or we're trying to pass. This is according to the state legislature's website. The bill was up for final passage on Saturday and eventually did pass with amendments. According to the bill entitled Penalty for Indecent Exposure in View of Minors, the current law categorized the first offense of indecent exposure with a minor as a Class 1 misdemeanor, but the bill would alter the law to make it a Class 6 felony. On Friday, the Deputy Chief of Staff for the Colorado House GOP, Roger Hudson, tweeted that the previous reading of the bill, House Democrats filibustered for nearly 3 hours today against felonizing indecent exposure to minors.
Ridiculous.
So, they filibustered it for a while before they actually allowed the bill to actually pass. So the bill actually passed, making it a felony. a class 6 felony, which would most likely
Any felony is
require
good. It
them
puts them on
to
lists.
sign up for some kind of list.
Yes.
That's
Some registries.
Right. So, being that they would actually be brought up and actually be on some kind of list and have to finally register for indecent exposure.
Where's the agency that is supposed to control all the registered sex offenders? Why doesn't that exist? Why isn't that a thing? Instead of going around and, harassing people about their guns or, whatever weed they're smoking. Do you have 12 plants or 13? How about you go around and knock, knock, knock. You're too close to a school. You got to go. Go give them a harassing time. Go fucking tell them you're not within, the terms of your release or whatever. You're out of, compliance. That never happens. They go on a list and that's it. That's it.
Right?
You could look them up, but there's no guarantee that they're there. There's no guarantee they told the truth. Oh, damn internet.
We have that registry, but no, it doesn't work. I mean, in as much as it doesn't work, it somewhat does, because I've actually told the story several times of the one guy that was actually moving into the community that had last lived in, and they told us exactly where he was moving into, what he was going after, what kind of and all that. So we would, it's just like, oh, guess we're staying away from that neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, we have that here, but half the time it's like, I don't even know where that address is. It's not even in my city, but that's what they wrote down. Right. And it's like, that's how they registered. That's how it went in. And I'm like, okay, but that's not here. So I don't get it. So they just write down a false thing and nobody checks up. I mean, if they take that chance, that's a risk.
Okay, this one already covered. I'm just trying to go through all my thumbnails and stuff that I have here or whatever. So I got quite a few different things. Let's do this one, I guess. I'm just trying to keep the show flowing for the most. I think there's one or two that I may have to actually stop what we're doing and skip over to Rumble because of a few things that might need to be covered. And that's why in that title you see also on Rumble. So if you haven't made yourself over to the Rumble already, don't forget to also do that and hit that thumbs up button over there. Help Rumble this through. I see that I've actually picked up about 36 views over there.
Nice.
It was currently saying something about 8 watching. Glad y'all there. If you haven't already and you'd like to, say something, you have a means to. We will actually hold conversations with you just as much as we're trying to with the YouTube side.
Yep.
Here you go. Red State Court reinstates voter ID, overturns previous gerrymandering decision. The North Carolina Supreme Court handed down decisions Friday restoring the state's voter ID requirement and overturning its previous ruling against legislative district maps that critics said unfairly favored Republicans. The state Supreme Court ruled in December against North Carolina's 2018 law, SB 824, which instructs in-person voters to present photo identification. Now, why in the world wouldn't you be already doing so anyway? It does not make sense how you can say that requiring a photo ID to vote is racist, because it's hard to get when it's a lie, because you need one to get almost anything else. Stop it.
Yep.
It's just the most ridiculous argument that I've ever heard of. I don't
really
get
is.
it either.
We were talking about it in Discord the other day, and I was telling Beautifully Inappropriate, I don't have to show my license ever when I go, because they make me sign something and they go to the book and they go, all right, that signature is the same. And then they give, and it's hard to like do my signature. So, I mean, they know it's me. They have books of all our signatures from when we registered. And that's how they identify us. So it's like, oh, they didn't show ID. No, but my ID is right there. It's called my signature. You know, the thing they no longer teach in school?
Right.
That's my identification. It's always been my identification since I hit 18. Like, but they don't teach that anymore. So,
Well, see, no, I heard
that's
it's
a little
some
sus.
places were actually trying to actually bring that back, to a
But
point.
that's
So
state by state. Oh, look who's here.
it's America's shirts.
It's America's shirts.
Well, hello, people.
Hello, Fluffy.
Funny seeing you people here.
You people.
You people. Well, there's two of us. So it's you people. Well, you're here, so I should really like jump
You
out
don't
and
have
let
to.
you boys.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right.
The shirts wants you to go.
Shirts, you want me to go? It's okay if you do.
I mean, I don't want to be rude, but I would
This is
like
your
to have
time.
just like me and Koolfrogg, if you don't mind.
No,
Are you that
it's
cool?
fine. And I love that you showed up. Mwah. All right, have fun, guys.
Cool beans. Catch you later. Not being rude, just it's the shtick.
It's I made it up to you. It's so. See, where was I here? So, I think I was through the first.
Where?
I was bitching about this
Where
right here.
are you?
The presenting photo identification. So it looks as though it's North
about it?
Carolina Supreme Court handed down decision. What are you doing?
Who? What?
You.
Me? I'm not doing
What are
anything.
you ruffling in front of your microphone?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have anything.
I'm unwrapping my sandwich.
I'm just I'm not doing anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
Uh-huh. All right. So, and either way, so this is North Carolina Supreme Court handed down decision on Friday restoring the state's voter ID requirement and overturning a previous ruling against legislative district maps that critics unfairly favored Republicans. So being that they say that it unfairly favored Republicans, and that it instructs in-person voters to present the photo identification. I just don't find. I hate the argument that it discriminates against with plaintiffs arguing that it intended to discriminate against black voters. I don't get that. Maybe as a black man, you can answer me. He turned off his microphone. What's up, Catnip Dave? They have all the important info from IDs, and they use IDs for verification to match. Nothing nefarious. Smart to teach them that. It's more of
No, voter IDs are the most nefarious evil plan by the Yahtzee right to make sure that all the Blixes peoples and all the strong, powerful women's don't vote.
SB 824 allows for citizens to vote without presenting a photo ID if they face a reasonable impediment. North Carolina Supreme Court Justice Phil Berger pointed out in his majority opinion, he called it one of the least restrictive voter identification laws nationwide. Essentially, North Carolina's photo identification statute does not require that an individual present a photo identification to vote. I mean, I just don't get. I don't get it. I brought it up because I'm like, yeah, it's fun to actually speak of because different states decide to do different things when it comes down to requiring photo ID to vote.
North Carolina Supreme Court has been like total whack for, I don't know, like 3 years now. Just totally insane. They've been absolutely crazy. Like almost everything they've handed down is just absolute bonkers. But this is saying that, and I was kind of reading because, I came in here like halfway through this, that the Supreme Court of North Carolina has handed down that they cannot use voter ID. Is that what I'm...
No, it says it allows citizens to vote without presenting photo ID if they face a reasonable impediment. Otherwise, SB 824, which instructs in-person voters to present photo identification, with the argument being that it discriminates against black voters. So it's this law that they're actually I'm confusing myself. Supreme Court ruled in December against the North Carolina 2018 law, which instructs in-person voters to present voter identification. They voted against it. They voted against it in 2018 that you needed it. They're saying you didn't need it. So now they're actually going back at it. And this is allows citizens to vote without presenting a photo ID if they face a reasonable impediment. Well, so it's like understandable. So under certain circumstances, you wouldn't have to present the identification. Your handler would present your identification or theirs.
This is just crazy.
Right. So
they have been left-away freaks for like better part of, I think, 3 years now. These the Supreme Court of North Carolina. It's just been one ridiculous thing after another. And I believe what it was that, if I'm not mistaken, what was the crazy freaking thing that they did? Where it was like they wanted to impeach them for, I forget, like impropriety, or it was for not, I don't know, doing their job and like going crazy. And then the Supreme Court was like, oh no, you can't remove us because that's unconstitutional or whatever. Like they just kept making crap up like every time. It was like a back and forth between the legislature and the Supreme Court. And it's still just this giant back and forth thing. And the Supreme Court of North Carolina thinks that they literally own the whole country, I guess. Because that's literally what they act like. They pass a law that says X, Y, and Z. Supreme Court says, no, you can't pass that. Why? Well, because we say so. Well, but give an explanation. Well, lefty bullcrap. Well, that's not a law. Well, we don't care. Like, it's that level of insanity. And so this kind of sounds that way. I mean, what kind of unconstitutional grounds are there that they list that would say that voter ID is not allowed, or at the very least, it cannot be demanded of people?
Right. I'm kind of confused on that myself. When it comes down to it, wouldn't you want everybody to have an ID?
Like, what's the legal argument that they're using? Because from like the other ones, it's just like this left-way freakishness of just like, we're in charge of the world. We get to rule everything. It's like, whoa, like, hold on a second here. Hold on, whoa.
So then, let's see, here's the quotes inside here. It says, our Constitution expressly assigns the redistricting authority of the General Assembly subject to explicit limitations in the text. Those limitations do not address partisan gerrymandering. It is not within the authority of this court to amend the Constitution to create such limitations, and the responsibility that any textually assigned to another branch. The nonprofit organization Common Cause, which helped develop the maps that replaced those created by the state assembly, so that the two decisions were part of a blatant attack on democracy. So, as you can see, the court in this paragraph, it says the court had also overturned in February 2022 decision against the 2021 legislative districting map devised by Republican-controlled state's General Assembly, which plaintiffs claimed were drawn to unfairly benefit Republicans. So, supposedly, North Carolina had gone along and they erased whatever happened in 2022, overturned it, and went back to the 2021 legislative districting map to actually push is something that would be more, quote unquote, less beneficial to Republicans, supposedly. You really don't know that until you actually look really close at those maps on what they're actually trying to redistrict out of that. So
that's how Madison Cawthorn lost his seat in North Carolina. It was because they redistricted it back to the original after he was already elected. So now he had a whole new electorate. Half of his electorate was new to him, and they were libtards from a city because they redistricted it back. Because see, that's the thing. Like, as soon as this districting map began to be like, well, it might benefit Republicans because, they might win a seat, aka Madison Cawthorn, right? The leftoids go crazy, and then they redistrict it. Now he doesn't have a seat in the House of Representatives because they literally redistricted his district to incorporate, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was like part of like Raleigh, or what's the other city? I forget. But it's like a section of that. It was like a section. It was like a swath of that area. And now it's back to that. And so then he had to run. So his original campaign, if I'm not mistaken, was different. Hold on a second.
No, you're fine.
Overturned 2022 decision against the 2021 legislative districting maps devised. So something happened where in the process here, if I'm not mistaken, there was the original map for like, I don't know how long. Of course, redistricting happens a lot. But he had one map. Then they said, no, you can't have that map. And I guess there's another map put in place that benefited the Dems, if I'm not mistaken. Is that how that happened? Because like I said, that was one of the things where it was like, Madison Cawthorn should win hands down. He won his first time in a landslide. What's happening here? They redistricted, and half of his constituents are now libtards. So they just like went full blown freaking Dem party all the way, and he didn't win it.
So then, let's see. It did go on. You can see here from Common Causes, the North Carolina Supreme Court has dropped 3 decisions on blatant attack on democracy. One was the fair maps, reinstated the voter ID, which was the first thing that they covered. And then it says stripped away a victory that restored voting rights for those with convictions. So then, I mean, I've done stupid things. I've done stupid things in my past where I've actually had, my rights actually removed from being able to actually vote. Do I think that somebody else should actually have the right to vote because they were a felon at one point in time? Nah, absolutely not. Take it away from them. It gives them another reason to actually go and get, and stay away from getting in trouble all the time. You want to actually, get along with the rest of society and actually vote and do things. Well, do just exactly that. Go get along with society and stop being an asshole. Right?
The article disappeared.
Yeah, it did. Were you still reading it?
Oh, I didn't know it was the end of it.
Yeah, that was the end of it. Last paragraph, I suppose I didn't read the last one, did I? It says Republican Justices Trey Allen defeated then Democratic State Justice Sam Ervin the fourth, to be elected in November, while Dietz took retired Democratic Justice Robert Hudson's seat, giving Republicans a 5-2 majority in the court, the Associated Press reported. So even though it says Republicans have a 5-2 majority, they still went ahead and they overturned these supposed Republican-backed benefit laws. It kind of sounds really weird, does it not? Anyway, well, we got some fun stuff coming up here yet. Joe Biden. Joe Biden.
Wake up. Joe Biden.
Joe Biden.
Wake up.
Joe Biden. I really don't know how much. I know I do have a few things left here. This one. I'm gonna go through this one here. Had several tabs open. You just kind of start digging through them all. And you're like, wow. Well, if you go this way, there's West Virginia Governor Jim Justice enters Senate race to take on Joe Manchin. West Virginia's Republican Governor Jim Justice announced Thursday he's running for Senate in 2024 for Democratic Senator Joe Manchin's seat. The two-term GOP governor will have to go up against Republican Rep. Alex Mooney in a primary that they fight to take on Manchin, who is yet to announce a re-election bid. Justice declared his candidacy in the new Greenbrier, the governor's resort, where he drew on his record as governor for being pro-life, promoting parental rights in education, strengthening the Second Amendment, and cutting taxes. He said in his speech, "Tonight, I am officially announcing my candidacy for the United States Senate." It should be an interesting seat to see what actually happens because it's Joe Manchin's seat. This is Joe Manchin. Being that it's Joe Manchin's seat, you really kind of you notice it sparked interest in America's church. He's like, "What? How do you feel about that?"
I mean,
Jim
I was not
Justice.
expecting this individual would do this. But seeing that that's the case, he probably will win it. He's fairly popular, and he and Trump have a very good relationship with each other. So I think that between Trump's endorsement, which is most likely coming, as a matter of fact, maybe he was the one that told him to do this. I don't know. It's a little unexpected in that Senate seat. I wasn't expecting him to pop into there. But yeah, Trump likes him a lot. He calls him the biggest governor in the union, is what he calls him all the time when he refers to him in conversation. Sometimes he doesn't even call him Jim. He just says like Jim Justice or whatever. Because he always like he went to Huntington, West Virginia several times, and he even said "Why do I come here? You all love me. What am I doing here?" He's only come to the state of West Virginia only a couple of times, and that's because West Virginia was the first time around was the first state to come in with all of its electoral votes for him. This last time around, it was Oklahoma that came in first, but then I think West Virginia was second. I mean, with Trump's endorsement, which, like I said, that might be why he's even doing that and stepping into the race. It'll be interesting to look at. It was on national news the last time around, the whole Senate race. That's where we get Cocaine Mitch from. Anybody know the phrase Cocaine Mitch? That came from the senatorial race. That was national news, by the way. With the guy Dan Blankenship was running for that. Was running for that seat for the Republican side of the aisle. our lovely hats that we get that are red that you can buy. I don't know. Can you still buy them? You still buy them on I don't know where they said Cocaine Mitch, and like all of these people starts buying this stuff. It says Cocaine Mitch. That guy never had a chance and all get out to ever win that Senate seat, but his Cocaine Mitch still lasts to this day, and I'm pretty sure somewhere they've got memorabilia of that. They got some kind of merchandise with Cocaine Mitch somewhere because that was really popular. But people still use Cocaine Mitch, and the Attorney General of West Virginia was running for that seat, and he was very popular too. And so apparently he's not running for this seat again. But yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting because the two seats for the state of West Virginia, Shelley Moore Capito, who is a total rhino hack freakazoid, who needs to be thrown out on her head from that Senate seat. She's a shame to anybody that would even call themselves like populist or conservative or Republican, because she's none of that. She's just crazed. And of course, Joe Manchin is Joe Manchin, who likes to play wishy-washy all the time with things on national news with, all these different people like, I like coal and I like West Virginia. If I say West Virginia 18 times in this interview, somebody will like me. It's like, that's not how this works. Like, he just assumes that his electorate's stupid. So it'll be interesting. There's a lot of different Senate seats that are going to be popping up. Ben Sass, his Senate seat, I believe, was going to be popping up because he was replaced.
Definitely going to be covering a lot more when it comes to of stuff coming up through 2024. All these
and
different
the DeSantis
elections.
thing. Did you talk about the DeSantis thing yet?
DeSantis, what thing?
Well, like he made a trip to Japan, and then he goes out in front of all the press, and the press is asking him like, oh, your numbers are down for like becoming president, or whatever. And he's like, well, and like he gets all like big and googly eyed. Well, we'll just have to see. Now he said that he has opened an exploratory committee to see about running for presidency, aka that means he's running, because we all knew he was after his several responses that he gave and the interview he gave to freaking Piers Morgan about the whole shtick of him, doing that. He abashed Trump like 5 times, I think, in that interview. This was back a couple of weeks ago now, I guess 2 weeks ago, perhaps. Was it 2 weeks ago? No, yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was terrible. He's gone like full blown wackadoodle. Like, I don't even know, like his whole campaign, he had campaign ads saying that he was Donald Trump, but his name is DeSantis, but people can't really tell who's the difference. What's the difference, between him and Trump? It's almost indistinguishable. Without Trump, he wouldn't even be in the position that he is. Now he's sitting there going crazy town and I'm making trips to Japan.
Those two are anything alike.
Now he's even come out and said, well, my stance on the Ukraine war is X, Y, and Z, and I don't think we should be doing this with national policy and national defense, but yet somehow he's the governor of Florida still, and he, quote unquote, hasn't begun running for president. Bullcrap. They've been filling his coffers since 2022 with money.
Well, he's got to wait to actually say anything. He's got to wait for this bill to pass. He's got to wait for that bill to pass.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, they're trying to get that because he can't be
he
governor.
Doesn't have to
for the
actually
national
drop his seat before running for the president. Right.
Right.
So that bill has to pass before he can do anything, and that's supposed to happen sooner than later. So as soon
wouldn't
as
that be
actually
hysterical if like that didn't happen and he couldn't run? And then all of this crap and all of this money that they were pumping in was for nothing.
Right.
All these stuff. And then like it's just Trump the whole way, and like nobody even thinks about DeSantis again as president. And it's just like total flop. Like that'd be so funny.
So
I have a feeling it's not gonna be the case though.
I'm gonna switch it up on you a little bit here. I'm gonna go to the article that's on the screen here. So when you actually look at it, and it actually says hosts Maria Bartiromo and Janine Pirro could be fired from Fox News. Doesn't matter.
Janine Pirro, she was already thrown off. It's like they took away her show. She had a show, and they took away her show.
Right.
And they just said, you go on the 5 and just sit there and be a good little smiley girl. And she's like, okay, don't fire me. Like, that's literally what happened. Because she had on Laura Logan, who came on and literally said all this stuff about Fauci and his Fauci ouchie. And they were just like, oh my God, we can't have this. And so within like a week, Jeanine Pirro's show was taken off the air. And at least she was given a formal, quote, goodbye to her show. And then Laura Logan was taken off of their Fox Nation subscription service thing, just like completely, like everything's gone. She just, boop, she doesn't exist. And nobody even talks about her anymore. Like nobody says anything. Like Fox News like, doesn't even reference her. She's not even there. She's not even a blip on the radar anymore. If either she was there with them, she helped beef a lot of things up there at Fox News. You know, Sean Hannity, brought her on and all this stuff. And now she doesn't even exist to these people anymore. It's insane. It's insane. And and then Maria Bartiromo, oh my God, I like her. I know that she, if you look up, even on the World Economic Forum,
we all know that Tucker Carlson.
She's still good.
Right? We all know about Tucker Carlson. We've all heard about Tucker Carlson. We've all heard about, the goings on with him, either being fired or let go or one or the other. So we've all heard about this, and it comes down to this particular
and who
decision.
can forget the great Lou Dobbs, right? Like they got rid of him on Fox Business. He had a great show. He was like, he's really smart, by the way. Lou Dobbs is very intelligent.
This payment, when in my opinion, this is what it comes down to: is this payment right here. This payment, it showed, as opposed to them continuing to do what they've been doing, to go ahead and bend over and take it, because that's what's, that's the only way, you're going to, and they all get walked out the door. Now, I've seen that there's some controversy about Tucker Carlson and him actually being let go. Some saying that he is, some saying that he isn't. Some are saying that he was never let go, that he's actually still there. It's that he needed to actually take his face off the screen because it was costing too much money to put his face on the screen. There's so much speculation.
He's
There's so much
officially
speculation to go
he's
with
not
it.
he's not his show is not coming back. He's not making any more appearances. The question is if they still try and pay him for the next 2 years. We don't know what his contract is. So they've officially taken him completely off the air and everything. But the question remains, if they still pay him, do they have a non-compete contract to where as long as they pay him money for his contract with them, he can't go anywhere else and do anything else for the next, 2 years or whatever.
Sure.
Like that's the only, that's the debate, is whether or not he's still being paid and whether or not they can try to silence him, which is exactly what they want to do, by the way. I mean, this is totally planned, because the day before this happened, I don't know if you covered anything with the Tucker Carlson stuff or not yet.
Very little.
Because the day before,
just like the day that
Joe
it
Biden
occurred, that morning, we caught the article as it was like not even written yet. It just had a headline. So there's a couple different things to go along with, catching, being up that early in the morning, catching news, straight off the bat. It's kind of interesting how fast you can cover something, and then you because you already covered it, you don't think about recovering it or whatever. It's already been covered. Well, there's a lot of people that didn't actually catch that, so even as the show goes on, us, and you'd be like 6 hours in, and like, did you hear about this? Like, yeah, we heard about that, 32 times. It's amazing.
The thing with this, though, is that this isn't about the Dominion payment, because the Dominion payment is done, they settled that. But the other aspect of this is that BlackRock owns a significant portion of both Dominion voting systems and Fox News, and so it's how exactly does this work? Like, but
Google,
but like,
which owns YouTube, which owns you and me. Oh no.
nobody owns me.
Hmm. Sure.
But
Okay, you say so. America's Shirts are first.com.
indeed. The thing
To
with
the
Tucker and like, if they throw anybody else off the air, it'll be about this too. Is the whole thing with the new and upcoming election cycle, because the day before Joe Biden announces that he's running for president, Tucker's taken off the air. Of course, it's not the only thing. This is something that's been happening for a long time. They've been wanting to throw him off the air. They've been waiting for an excuse to throw him off the air. They've been using, they haven't even referenced this, by the way, officially. What Fox News has said is that they're referencing another allegation of sexual impropriety in the workplace by Tucker and the others there. By get this, okay? And I don't know if I can pull up this article like now or later or whatever. And I guess we could go over this in maybe some more detail. But like, he put up the picture of Nancy Pelosi at the beach. If anybody remembers that, with her sunglasses and all that, and the very shall we say revealing cleavage that was there, or whatever was left over from the cleavage that might have been there some like 800 years ago. And so and so like he puts up this picture in the office of this and he's asking people, like throwing, like he's putting out like like questionnaires of like, who would you rather date or, you know, sleep with or whatever. And like, it's Nancy Pelosi or like somebody else or whatever. And it's just like, you know, like, who do you think? Like, cause she thinks she's hot stuff. Like, who do you think that you actually, like, who's actually attractive or something? He's like,
yeah,
he's trying to
right.
joke around. And so this woman comes and she's just like, oh my God, I just felt so sexually harassed. And so she went on, I believe she did an interview with like MSNBC, if I'm not mistaken. And she, is this the same woman or a different woman? They may reference this in this article because she said that she was a spy for the Murdochs inside of Fox, the people who own
really
Fox.
don't know.
And so she was
Let's
like
read the
hopping
article and
around
find out.
between people, between Maria Bartiromo and between Tucker Carlson and I believe Jeanine Pirro, if I'm not mistaken, and reporting back directly to the Murdochs what was going on privately.
This paragraph alone kind of even goes even further. So it says there have been reports that Sean Hannity himself might receive some sort of warning or notice, although there's not substantial evidence to back this opinion up. Well, it's like, though you don't have substantial evidence, you're still going to opine that, you know, that Sean Hannity himself may also be looking at the acts if, you know, they go that far of actually removing, you know, Bartiromo and Pirro, as well as what they've already taken care of Tucker Carlson. They're really not going to have anything left.
Because the Murdochs are leftoid
Did the opposition
freakazoids.
really just say, well, you know, we're sick of you being the opposition. We're going to actually consume you. We're going to consume you. We're going to make you part of the left so that we can confuse so many people for the next 100 years. You know, or potentially, you know, because there's going to be people that would be like, I want to look away from what this other stuff is, and I'm going to go over here to Fox. And they're not going to realize that Fox is no longer opposite, that it's now the same thing.
Oh, Fox has lost. They lost 50% of their audience already. And the other, and they've lost every other show too, not just the 8 p.m. slot. The 8 p.m. slot is like completely tanked. Like there's nothing. There's like, it's like CNN numbers at 8 p.m. at this point now for Fox News. And the other people after them, so the Hannity and Laura Ingraham after them, in the 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock hour, they've all lost like 30% or more of their viewers because there were people that floated from Tucker Carlson and then floated to Hannity and then maybe kept the TV on and then listened to Laura Ingraham. And all of that's gone because nobody's turning their TV to that station anymore at all. So like, I mean, this is affecting their entire station. And but the thing is that they don't care because they're, again, the Murdochs are leftoids. The Murdochs are WEF people. That's who these people are, and they own Fox. They've been trying to get rid of Tucker for I don't know how long. They have spies in and out throughout the company trying to get stupid crap on people to make up some excuse to get rid of people. I mean, that's the way this works because they want it to look one way to the public when in reality it's another. Murdoch's wife, as a matter of fact, and this came out the last time that Murdoch had a meeting with Tucker, Big Murdoch here, I forget his first name now, crap, because everybody just calls him like Murdoch, whatever. His wife, and by the way, this guy's like 90-some years old, and he's from like, what is he from, like Germany or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And but his wife literally thought that like Tucker is some sort of like God-anointed individual to like bring about like Christian revival in America. And so she was like kind of going into this religious phase of herself of Christianity. And Murdoch was absolutely abhorrent about it. He thought it was abhorrent. He thought it was horrible. And he thought it was just like you can't make my wife like Christianity. Like, like you can't do this. Like he hated that. He despised it. And so he's always had it in for Tucker Carlson. It's just now because it's the right time to do it, because now we're getting into 2020 elections. Now we're getting into the next phase of the Ukraine war, with the Ruskies probably going to have some kind of a big, huge offensive and move in farther. And so they're going to try to stir things up more. So there's all these different things coming along,
about
and they got to
the
get rid of
Ukraine war. So there was the oil field in Crimea that was actually taken out by a drone or whatever. And as I was covering that, Go Hagen says Ukraine's already over. So I mean, you still have, speculation on what's exactly happening in Ukraine. So and who to actually believe in, what to believe.
Oh, you should always believe Slava Ukraini. Always believe Slava Ukraini.
Yeah, absolutely, always.
Never question Zelensky. Ever.
So.
And did you see the Pentagon celebrated? Like they did all these. I think there was like a couple interviews Pentagon people did about Tucker Carlson.
See,
where they just went crazy.
When I do news articles and I actually think about stuff and I actually go through them and try figuring out what to actually cover, is I go through so much, and as the week progresses, I feel that it's old news, so I throw it out. Because I don't want to keep a whole 100,000 bookmarks. So I have a tendency to, throw stuff out that is like, well, okay, that's not necessary. That's not wanted anymore. How about, did you hear about the Texas shooting suspect who took out five neighbors and is still on the run? You hear about this guy?
No.
Here it's.
You mean some pizza delivery driver didn't trip him?
No, I seen that. I thought that was funny.
That was Tucker Carlson's last night on Fox, was that pizza delivery guy. He had him on the air, and they all sat around and ate pizza. And he said it was so terrible what he did to order sausage and pineapple on a pizza. But it was just, he's just like, oh, this is just grotesque, but I'm going to enjoy every minute of it. He had him on to talk about the whole thing.
So here you go. Texas shooting suspect who gunned down 5 neighbors is still on the run. So there you go. Nice picture of this dude. This is a suspect identified as a 38-year-old Francisco Oropeza. This is a male gunman who is still at large after allegedly shooting and killing 5 people, including a child, in Texas late last week in an incident that started with a noise complaint, according to officials. The suspect, 38-year-old Francisco Oropeza, was allegedly asked to stop firing a rifle in his yard because a baby was trying to sleep. According to San Jacinto County Sheriff's Office, the suspect then allegedly opened fire, killing 5 people, including an 8-year-old, during early morning hours of April 29th in Cleveland, Texas. In an update posted on social media that night, the sheriff's office stated in an extensive manhunt for Arapaza has not yielded his location. No updates had been provided by the office as of the morning of April 30th. If you have any tips or information, and then they're like, here's the guy. Again, here's a good look at him. So this is Francesco Arpazo, 38, is the suspect in a fatal shooting of five people, 100 block of Walters Road in the Trails End area of Cleveland, Texas, on Saturday, April 29, 2023. Is believed to be have fled the county. If you see him, this has been how many days, and he's still not actually found. After that many days of not being found, you pretty much can assume that he's anywhere.
Potentially. Oh, we can't see the article about it.
Yeah, it's because that article ended.
The article ended.
It was just it was showing that things that were there. So here's an exclusive: Mexican migrants wanted for murder of 5 Hondurans deported 3 times, says Texas sheriff. So deported 3 times. Just turn around,
Well,
come back.
son of a gun. Who would have guessed? Oh, wait. I kind of did. I didn't say
Right. So immigration officers.
I'm sorry, but I saw his face and in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, he's an illegal alien. I'm like, yep.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. We just assumed.
Like
right.
I'm at this point, like that's just the assumption. I know it's not necessarily YouTube friendly, but hey.
But at the same time, when you actually think about it, if you can't get the word out there on what's exactly happening, and who's how is anybody supposed to ever understand the truth? So that here's immigration officers reported a Mexican man wanted a connection to Friday night's alleged murder of 5 Honduran nationals on 3 occasions, according to the Texas sheriff leading the investigation. The most recent removal came in 2016. San Jacinto County Sheriff Greg Capers told Breitbart, Texas on Sunday, the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers deported a 38-year-old Francisco Arapazo. He's just going to keep on coming back. He's going to come back, and what is he going to do? He's going to cause and create more crime, and continue to do the stuff that he's been doing. That's what they're going to do again. They're going to arrest him, deport him. So you can see here, it says that 10 people living in the home at the time of the shooting. 5 of them are dead, and 5 descendants are identified. Are identified, and you got these young 8-year-old being removed from the face of the planet because of the ignorance of this guy being able to be allowed to come back over across the border over and over again. I don't really care about the article. I really don't care about the possession. I don't care about the increase to $80,000. I don't care about any of that. It's not what it's about. It's that we keep on allowing these people over the border. We just covered an article earlier that was 21,000 migrants coming across at the same time being detained and shipped back out. This is when we actually look at it, it's the same crap over and over again. So it's still being updated as the manhunt continues for this illegal alien, previously deported multiple times. There's a Daily Mail article that's there that's been updated within the last couple hours. Well, 4.5 hours. So it's still saying that they haven't actually found this guy. There's a $55,000 reward that's been increased to $80,000.
Oh, and the whole thing with we're gonna go over the Title 42 thing, right? Or did you already do that?
Title 42. I kind of hit on Title 42. So I guess we were getting down to the nitty gritty of it, really.
So essentially, it's just going to be more of this.
No. So the last thing that I really had before we would actually, I mean, one of them can't be shown. We don't have to do the exclusive. It's not necessary. So basically, what I had was I had a goalpost impales a Washington State high school student doing a Phi Ed class. Kind of grotesque. I mean, well, that's the stuff that I was thinking I'd go over to the other, go over and just do on Rumble or whatever. Yeah, right. Exactly. What? Really? It's like, this one can actually be done here, whatever. So it's one that I was actually debating on even covering it at all because I don't really care. It was Katy Perry, Katy, lost her trademark battle against Australian woman of the same name of Katie Perry. She actually lost. She actually lost, and I found it hilarious. I figured we could actually cover it and laugh at it or whatever. Something we could probably still do here. It's a very short article.
Katy Perry, the musician that dressed as the harlot on the back of the beast in the book of the Revelation to display open satanic imagery in front of the whole world at the Super Bowl. Because she just thinks she's so fantastic. Because,
So
my daddy was a pastor, quote unquote. So like, ugh.
And then the last one, because it would not be able to actually show it here, was a graphic video that shows a wrestler that had actually set himself on fire.
Oh, we can't actually see anything, by the way, if you're trying to show us stuff.
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to show you anything.
What?
Not trying to show you anything. Well, here. One of our favorite people in the world.
In the interest of transparency.
Had brought it to my attention that you need to hold on a minute. I'm almost done here.
Yeah, he wants to bring something to your attention.
Yeah, he wants me to feed him some ice cream or something because he's like, well, it's late. We already ate dinner.
Don't you know there's a fourth meal?
Hold on. So then...
Sometimes there's a sixth.
No, what is this now? Here you go. Let's do this one. Because she said that she felt a couple of them within like a short period of time. It says swarms of earthquakes rocked Southern California over 24 hours.
What? China, divinity. Oh my God.
Earthquake shook up the Salton Sea region of Southern California within 24 hours over the weekend, with the seismic activity reaching up to 4.5 in magnitude. As first swarm began at 12:08 p.m. Saturday in the U.S.-Mexico border town of Heber, with nearly 50 tremors shaking the area until about 5:12 a.m. Sunday. The Heber quakes reached up to 3.7 in magnitude and were felt by about 60 people. A second swarm struck nearly 40 miles north by the town of Nyland, where more than 25 tremors were then shook the southeast shore of Salton Sea, startling at 12:09 a.m. Sunday. Those earthquakes lasted until 5:28 a.m. and reached a higher magnitude of 4.5, which was felt by about 30 people. In between the swarms of seismic activity, a 3.2 magnitude quake hit the eastern shore of the Salton Sea near Ocotillo Wells at 10:55 p.m. Saturday. There are no immediate reports of damage or injuries after the earthquakes. The seismic activity comes just days after the earthquakes rattled the Ocatello Wells and El Central areas. This kid is just so ridiculous right now. Where there have been at least 5 recent earthquakes of the magnitude of 3 or higher. So, several earthquakes. They're calling it a swarm. California and Nevada have an average of 234 earthquakes between magnitudes of 3 and 4 a year, according to the latest reports. Although earthquakes within the range of magnitude can be felt by people and cause minor damage, it's not entirely rare for residents to miss them or even sleep through them. But found it very interesting how within a day, so many occurred.
Yes, it is very interesting. I hope Divinity's house didn't fall
In
down.
a 24-hour period, that was quite a few of them.
I don't know where the heck she lives through there. I don't remember exactly where she told. But, told us. But. Anywho's, glad to see it didn't affect anybody that much.
Didn't mean to put
It's
you
just
to
a
sleep.
lot.
It is. It's a lot. It's ridiculous a lot. We don't care about Katy Perry, right?
No, she worships the devil. You know, it's kind of
Well, that's why
the usual.
Fun little thing at the end. We won't do the goalpost either. We will not watch the graphic video showing a wrestler setting himself on fire. That maybe we can do something in Discord when we're done here. Last thing. Biden loses battle with teleprompter. Stop. You're not getting any if you continue. Please. Stop. Give me a few minutes, okay? I don't know why your mom's not listening to you right now. Oh, maybe because she's trying to sleep. Biden loses battle with the teleprompter trying to hit DeSantis at the White House correspondence.
Is there video? There is.
There's videos, definitely.
At Ron DeSantis, I had a lot of Ron DeSantis jokes ready. But Mickey Mouse beat the hell out of me, got there first.
It's almost so funny.
Now look, can't be too rough on the guy. After his reelection as governor, he was asked if he had a mandate. He said, hell no, I'm straight. I'm straight. I'll give you time to think that one through.
I'll give you time to think that one through. Did you laugh? Did you get the joke?
I mean, I got the joke, but I mean, especially coming from a pervert creepazoid like him, like, I don't know.
We got it?
Of course, Kamala's over there like, like, what the? Over there trying to crow and laugh and hackle and the entire time.
Right. But so then you can actually see the transcript on that. So you said, but Mickey Mouse beat the hell out of me and got there first. Now look, can't be rough on the guy. After this re-election as governor, he was asked if he had a mandate. And said, hell no, I'm straight. The guy, the transcript on it, it's just as funny as actually listening to it. You see, you actually look at it, and it says, "But Mickey Mouse." It's like, stop asking me. You're supposed to go brush your teeth. Nope, you're not getting any. You're not listening. Sorry, dude. So then, gas
Oh my
machine,
God! Is this when he calls
Democrat
himself Dark
president,
Brandon?
popular demand, and called himself Brandon. He's the moniker during his remarks at the White House Correspondents' Dinner last night.
See, like this whole thing with Dark Brandon is like a whole like deep state bullcrap thing on social media. It's so cringe. It's so bad.
I'm going to turn this over to Roy. Roy, the podium is yours. I'm going to be fine with your jokes, but I'm not sure about Dark Brandon.
It's so bad. Oh my God,
All
it's
yours,
so
pal.
cringe. Like this is some kind of legit popular meme thing. Like it's just it's so bad. It's like total propaganda. Like they just spew this stuff out on the internet and then just get a bunch of bots to throw it all around everywhere. And then it's just like, oh yeah, like look, we're so cool, we're so hip, we're so based, man. Like all the kids love us. Like nobody likes you. Nobody thinks you're cool.
You might
No one
think I don't
everyone
like
thinks you're a
Mr. Murdoch.
cringe creepazoid.
It's simply not true.
You're a creepy
How
old
can I
dude.
dislike a guy who makes me look like Harry Styles?
He doesn't even
Call
know who the
me
hell Harry
old.
Styles is.
I call it being seasoned. You say I'm ancient. I say I'm wise. You say I'm over the hill. Don Lemon would say that's a man in his prime.
Oh, Joe Biden is so funny. Nobody, you like, come on, people. Come on. It's so cringe. Oh my God. So bad. Did she change her hairstyle there just to look different for this outing? Or she like put up her hair some way or something? Or I don't even know. Like who the heck knows? I have no idea. But yeah, there you go. The funniest president of all time, ladies and gentlemen, with the most votes ever recorded in the history of ever. So yeah. Yeah, there you go. There you go. There's Dark Brandon. Do you feel how hip and how cool the CIA promoted memes are? Like, do you feel so like, so cool and so in with the times, man? Like, come on, dude. Like everybody loves Dark Brandon because he's so based and awesome, dude. Like, does anybody feel that way about Joe Biden now? Do you feel fantastic? Do you feel like Joe Biden is just like the coolest dude ever with his aviators on?
Now she's talking my language. What's my favorite ice cream flavor? I may be among the dullest presidents of the world because I'm known for two things: my Ray-Ban
Sniffing
sunglasses
children,
and
grabbing
chocolate
children.
chip ice cream. That's my favorite. Chocolate chip ice cream.
I mean, does he not like grab the child, by the way? Does he not like touch the child? Oh, Koolfrogg, if you're talking, we can't hear you, by the way. But if you're wanting me to point it out,
Look at
I will.
the excitement on the little girl's face in the back. This one here. You see, you're like super excited because you got him to say chocolate chip ice cream.
I'm known for two things: my Ray-Ban sunglasses and chocolate chip ice cream. That's my favorite.
Any excuse to touch a kid, and he's just like,
Oh, let me get close and tell you about my chocolate chip ice cream.
It's like a caterpillar drawn to a flame.
And that's all I can show you. I have nothing else to show you. I have no other videos. I have no other clips, no ads, no nothing. The only thing I have that I wanted to do was this graphic video of this wrestler setting himself on fire. Very disturbing. Yep. And we're going to actually go watch that over on Discord. So those of you that haven't already, please hit the like button. Share this out to all your friends. Let them know where you're at. If you haven't already, make sure that you've gone to americashirtsaretfirst.com.
Only the most base t-shirts on the planet, ladies and gentlemen. With the discount code of Koolfrogg, you can save 15% on anything in the store. That is the discount code of Koolfrogg. When you use it at the checkout, go check it out. Get it. See what I did.
We are on the Rumble side already. If you haven't hit that thumbs up button while you're over there,
do it.
Look up America Shirts.
Yes.
The same way you see here on the screen.
Indeed.
You look that up. You go and you subscribe to him as well. He does his own thing. He's too good for the YouTube thing. He only does it. He only does it on Rumble. So if you want to see, America Shirts anywhere else, that's probably the best place to go. Hopefully we have something coming up for you in the next few nights. I will be back here tomorrow morning. If you haven't seen already, May Day with Talking Trash and Truth and myself for waking up.
Mayday.
I did set it for an hour earlier than we were at. What we were at. That's simply
man overboard. Oh wait, it's just a lemon.
That's simply like 4 hours away from or 4.5 hours away from right now. And you really seriously have to take it with a grain of salt. We may be late.
You
just don't know. You
may be late, right?
You never know. It happens. It happens. Well, you see, if you actually look at the way I have it spelled, I have Happy May Day, I guess. Some socialist formed thing that we supposedly celebrate. America Shirts doesn't know about May Day. Stop in tomorrow morning, find out about May Day with myself and Talking Trash and Truth. And we'll do plenty of other things as well. It will not just be about May Day. It will be so much more, like it always is. Love you all so much. Everybody say goodbye.
Later, peeps.
Well, let's see. Which one should we do? Did you see the opening? You didn't see the opening.
No.
I refuse to go along with this, and I'd see through all of your lies, Barack Obama, you wicked, wicked devil!
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.